Simple. Danny goes to the movies, writes a review. You hear him on the podcast, now you know what he would do. Grab your popcorn and your soda or your healthier snacks. Enjoy the film and just relax. You don't have to do this all alone. Join our community and we'll talk about it, yo. I scream, you scream for movies, and that's what we be doing. I scream, you scream for movies, and that's what we be doing. I scream, you scream for movies, and that's what we be doing.
All right, everybody. Welcome to I Screen, You Scream for Movies for Friday, May 19th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We are doing live. I'm Danny Escamalaji, and ladies and gentlemen, we've gotten one of the biggest summer movies to kicking off summer 2023 movie going after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I adore that film so much. My latest review is up, available if you guys want to check it. For those that haven't, for brand new people listening to the show brand newly, we got Fast X, one of the newest installments of the Fast and Furious franchise, a franchise that just can't die. And I'm going to go over a lot of that in just a bit. So, on top of that, to remind everyone, for those who are new, obviously I get new listeners peeping in every day, but for those new listening, or some old listening, Fast X was one of my top 10 most anticipated films. It was sitting at number 9, and the reason I was excited is because interesting ensemble cast, and not to mention I do adore the Fast and Furious franchise a little, except sometimes it gets kind of ridiculous and dumb. But yeah, I really wasn't. I really don't have high expectations for a film like this, but I'm actually was super excited to seeing it. So as of this recording, depending on when you listen to this episode, I just saw Fast X Thursday night on the 18th. So just to give my quick thoughts before we get into this ensemble cast and all that topics. So Fast X, it's what you really expect. Dumb, ridiculous, always stale franchise that just can't be put down. Dumb, funny plot. I mean, look, the plots, let's just say, it's just getting already stale at this point of the franchise, right? But I will say, and obviously I'm going to compare this to the last movie that we got a couple years ago, Fast 9. I do understand a lot of people hating on that film, and I can see where that comes from. So I'm here to say, obviously, that as I think about it, it is pretty bad. But I will say, Fast X does seem to improve a lot from the last movie. And on top of that, one actor who's actually new to the movie and the franchise has been introduced, and man, did this guy exceed my expectations, which I will go over his part later in the review. So, other than that, I did enjoy Fast X efficiently. Again, nothing too crazy, nothing too much. Again, it's something I have a love and hate where I don't expect too much, and it's just nothing new, nothing innovative, and all that. So, as we got the ensemble cast, so this is, though the ensemble cast is one of the reasons why I adore a lot of franchise. So let's see, you got Vin Diesel, obviously the big star of the show. Michelle Rodriguez, one of the best female actresses. Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, John Cena, Nathalie Emmanuel, Jordana Brewston, Sung Kong. Let's see. Okay, so and Jason Statham. But I will say Jason Statham, as his return, isn't throughout the whole movie. So you'll get to see him in like one of the scenes, but like not to spoil them much, but he's not the whole major factor. So I will explain what the whole Fast X is really going on, really. So as I was saying, you got one of the new cast members actually coming in. So you got Daniela Melchior, who actually is from the Suicide Squad, playing Ratcatcher. Hope I said her name right. Obviously, fuck it's a raw feed. You got Brie Larson, very, very, very interesting pick. I actually adore that actress pretty well. Obviously, Captain Marvel, if everyone knows who she is from. Oh, and Charlize Theron obviously returns, of course. But you got I'm gonna actually only praise this actor because he was the most additional value add to Fast and Furious, and he plays a villain, which I thought his villainy stuff was sure cartoony, some silly, some that, but I thought me watching villains is way funner than you all think it could be. For me, I love watching villains squirm and shit. So you got Jason Momoa. Oh my god, I can't fucking say his name. Jason Momoa. This guy, man. So he plays Dante Reyes. In case a little refresh to people that haven't saw the past Fast and Furious like me, which I haven't saw everything. I only started watching the 9th one, but I did understand the recaps and everything. So Jason Momoa plays Dante Reyes. So he is the son from people that saw Fast 5. This is as related to that movie. So he is the son of the drug lord Hernan Reyes. So somewhat from the bank heist and all that from Fast 5. It has something to do with the fact his father died and Dante being part of the chase, which he came back alive, not dead. So this movie from that perspective takes place years later to Fast X. I don't know how many years that is, but he has never forgotten the fact he has been watching the whole Dominic Toretto's family all these years and plans to get his revenge. So that's what the whole movie's really about, really. And another stale plot, I guess. I mean, I will say that it's just like one of those past of the enemies and all that. I mean, it's that's what I'm talking about right there. I mean, I will say that's like one of the most annoying things dealing with Fast and Furious is the stale plots. Nothing innovative, really. Always these kind of characters coming back from like either from being not being dead or all that, just getting revenge, waiting for the right opportunity. I mean, it's just all over, you know. But Jason Momoa, my God, I can't say his name. Fuck, it's raw feed. Jason Momoa fucking killed as Dante Reyes. I can't say much. He's fun. He's insane. I can't believe what the direction this guy had with the director having him get his performance and all, which is number one thing. Have the directors get the actors his best performance. Jason Momoa fucking nailed it in every single way. I think Dante Reyes has to be like one of the best huge villains of the series. I think he's obviously he's not the butts in the seats movie star. Obviously he plays Aquaman. Duck Idol from Dune. But he's a great additional value. And I can see people enjoy his stuff. Even for me, I'm a big Jason Momoa fan. I love his stunning shit. Him playing as a villain like Dante Reyes made my day through this movie, for sure. If it wasn't for that, I'd be talking shit this movie all podcast raw feed. Trust me. So, to compare the action sequences real quick, I'm gonna compare this to F9. So, the action and stuff from the Fast and Furious franchise sure got very innovatively new, but let's just say Fast 9 had one of the most ridiculous sketch of all actions for what people are talking about. Like, couple characters going to outer space to destroy some kind of satellite upload by using a rocket vehicle car driving up to outer space. I thought it may be like something cool, but let's just say that's like way too much out of the line. That a lot of people just broke the rule. That a lot of people say the franchise broke the rule of staying on the ground. I mean, it makes sense. I guess it makes sense if you think about it. Common sense, obviously. Like Fast and Furious was always about driving on the road, but they're going in outer space last movie to destroy some kind of like upload and shit. I mean, sure, I thought it was like ridiculously funny, but yet it was a pretty terrible idea and broke the number one rule of that. And guaranteed you, they're not gonna do this shit again. They're not gonna do this shit again. I guarantee you all that. Especially to the Fast and Furious fans out there. I guarantee you they're not gonna do this again. And they did not do this in the movie either. Thank freaking God. So on top of that, the action sequences is awesome. The choreography fights are amazing. I like the idea. I like how they're. So just to compare the previous Fast and Furious, besides the 9, they've done a good job of keeping it just original. So Sure, a lot of like chaotic, but it seems like they kept the rule just well, staying on the ground. So that's what I like on that film. They actually still improved, bringing back the redeeming qualities. And obviously, there's a racing scene in the film, just like that. It's what we all love to see and enjoy. I mean, yeah, you're always gonna get these kind of scenes where there's always gonna be a party, and there's a lot of women over there just dancing and shit, and then there's gonna be a race, just like the past Fast and Furious franchise. You just can't have that without it, you know? All right, so nothing to talk about a lot of the goods and shit, but I mean, I could say the cast. I like the cast. I mean, let me just say, go back to. It's good to see John Cena. It's good to see all the cast coming together. It's like one big family, at least for that. Um, Besides Jason Momoa being new as a value add, I liked it. So something a little off to this film, obviously. It's like I said, it's dumb, ridiculous. Obviously, they didn't do too well with like the humor and lines. None of the lines were like funny, I guess. I mean, sure, maybe some scenes were funny, but like let's just say some of the jokes they landed wasn't maybe not or everyone's cup of tea, you know? So if you're gonna go and watch a Fast and Furious like this for Fast X, just don't expect things to be funny unless everyone laughs. But some of the end of the day will just think it's just not well put together. So the humor line wasn't my cup of tea. So so want to go over this real quick as part of like my little annoyances to why I think Fast X is like already gonna be starting off from the cliff. I mean, look, let me just say this real quick. Fast and Furious is the franchise can't be put it down. It's like, how many more can they do? And all they gotta do is just keep the rules simple. Like the last one, like I said, they just went to outer space and fucking broke the rule. On top of that, I mean, uh, it just like Vin Diesel love. Oh, look, I understand Vin Diesel love doing these stuff. Sure, I'm sure everyone these cats loves doing this stuff, but like, it's like how many more gambles can Universal take these risks of these budget films? Like, not to mention, they shot Fast X through COVID protocols. On top of that, so many ensemble cast, everything. The film cost over $340 million to make. One of the highest not profitable, sorry, most highest budget films of all time and the franchise. So it has ways to go to break even before heading into the full summer crowded season, which I think international is going to help the numbers for sure. Domestically, I can see if it either was well received, people can support this movie, which I would say, I mean, go support the movie. I mean, Fast and Furious is those cash grabs I love to support, but again, the franchise. Let me just say this real quick. I just don't like how the factor to keep going and going. Okay, so here's what's going on, and here's what's been happening before the movie came out. So they're even planning to do the 11th Fast and Furious, which is supposed to be the end of the franchise, right? Unfortunately, Vin Diesel just said the word in some interview that Universal wants to do a trilogy, and they just wanted to do a third film after the 11th. I was just like, oh my god, I was just annoyed. The fact Universal keeps taking these risks. I mean, how long can they ever go to get this franchise to die? I'm just like so tired of seeing. Look, franchises like Mission Impossible is coming to an end. They got part one this year, they got part two next year. The Twilight Saga, the Harry Potter saga, like almost every other sagas of. Oh, and Indiana Jones is even coming to an end. Yes, that's one of them. All these saga franchises is already about to come to an end, and some already ended already. But Fast and Furious just doesn't know when to quit. Universal doesn't know when to quit. I feel like the hardcores for me. I'm going to obviously feel bad. The franchise for the whole people, the franchise for the whole fans are going to be so tired. I don't know how long they could keep doing this movies over and over, but I think the conclusion I can say is that I'm obviously going to keep supporting this franchise, sure, the 11th, the 12th, because I think what this is good on this right now is that the Fast and Furious is coming to an end for sure. Just not this year or the one in 2025, but until the third film. So let's say right now, Fast X is the beginning of the Avengers Infinity War. But instead of doing Infinity War and Endgame on the 11th Fast and Furious, they're just doing a 3-part. I mean, that's what I don't get. Just do Infinity War for Fast X and do Endgame on the 11th. But no, Universal wants to do this shit. I mean, I can't fathom the fact that it's not like I don't blame them, but it's the dumbest decision ever. That's all I'm going to say. It's not Vin's idea, but Universal just pitched it, and Vin just agreed to even say that in the interview. I mean, that's the only thing that boggles my mind. I mean, look, I love I do enjoy these franchise. Not as good as John Wick. Let me compare it. John Wick is a whole different story. But for cars and vehicles like this, it's fun to watch. But how long can they do all this craziness? I mean, if they're going to do outer space again, that's going to be fucked up. There's no way they're going to do this shit again. So that's all I'm saying. That's the positive. So that's the negative thing I have to say about this franchise. And hopefully it doesn't go in fatigue, obviously. I hope not. Maybe. If they just, I don't know. But I feel like with the trilogy being announced, I feel like it may fall in fatigue. I don't know. I could be proven wrong, but we'll have to see. So, and the positive, like I said, it's going Fast X. It's the Infinity War, and then Endgame to the 2 movies. I mean, it's obviously probably going to be called Fast X Part 2, Fast XX, and the third Fast X Part 3, XXX. I mean, how many more Fast and Furious can they just get called like that? I mean, they should probably keep going with the X, but either just having 2 letters of the X or calling it parts. You know, that's all I'm going to say. So, all right, well, nothing much to Fast X. I do enjoy this movie. I think it's better than the last one. For me to tell you guys, go see this movie. I think you'll have a great time with it. And if you can hang on to this fatigued franchise that can't be putting down, I think you're going to enjoy what they're going to do with the 2 parts. Otherwise, I'm hoping they'll change their mind and just do the second part. Because they haven't, like, shot it or anything. I'm sure they're going to just, like, already work on the 11th film and then shoot it all next year and release it in 2025. I just hope they just change their mind and rethink about the plan. That's it. I just like to see them end with the 11th, and that's it. I don't know about you guys, but hopefully this franchise can end on a high note and finally be put it down. So, but yeah, all right. That will do for this review of Fast X and my take on the Fast and Furious franchise. So, before I end up packing it up and getting off the raw feed air, this is obviously going to be part of the audiogram that you're going to be listening on, or for those that are listening to the show brand newly, new people coming in, new audiences. Like, I don't get new audiences every day, but some peeps playing and just, I'm just going to like say this real quick. So if you're listening to the show as a brand new audience guest, let's say, you want to probably subscribe to this podcast show really, really, really badly. And the reason I'm saying this is because you don't want to miss I Screen, You Screen for Movies having ton of content going on in the June of 2023, which, in my favorable opinion, June of 2023 is like my most hypest year of all months. Besides March, we had a lot of great movies, and I reviewed a lot of the films back in March. A lot of the episodes that I review for March are up in my feed if you guys want to check them out. But most importantly, if you're new listening to this podcast, follow and subscribe if you want to hear me having the take on these episodes for Spider-Man, Transformers, The Flash, Pixar's Elemental, and Indiana Jones. All 5 movies are going to be on my podcast feed. And there's no words to describe how excited I am to doing this show to uncover June. Because trust me, June is going to be those months you don't want to sleep on. Especially, I also have other things going on too, like certain video games coming out as well. But most importantly, if you're movie fans listening, anyone looking for a show to actually enjoy the vibes of my podcast, this podcast is right for you because June is one of those months you don't want to miss out and subscribe to the podcast. And which podcast platforms, you may ask? Any podcast platform. Doesn't matter where you're listening on, but even though Apple, Spotify are the ones that really matters, but any podcast platform would really help. And on top of that, if you are also enjoying this show, please go ahead and leave me a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. But Apple's the one, like I said, the one that matters more. And obviously, you want to follow my social media platforms on Twitter at ISUS4MPod and my TikTok, same name, I Screen, You Screen for Movies. So I will say this in an episode or two, but June is those months you want to really subscribe to my podcast. That time of the year, you really want to stick to my show. If you are new listening to this podcast, you don't want to miss June. It's going to be one of the biggest months for me to get content, great content making going on. And June is that month you really can't miss out on I Screen, You Screen for Movies. So please, show the love and support and get ready for June content on the way by following and subscribing to any podcast that you may endure listening on, whenever you get your pod. And that will do my raw feed conclusion. There's nothing else to say except until next time, I'll be screaming you all at I Screen, You Scream for Movies. Nailed it.